Hey everybody, Cowboy here. Today we do a video on how to trade with the trend using a Fibonacci extension. And if you stick around after the video, you can find out more about us and what we do over at Algo Factory, or simply navigate to the website at the bottom of the screen, www.algofactory.tech, or zap that QR code that you see right there. In the meantime, enjoy the clip. When you're in a trend, it's easy to identify. An uptrend has higher highs, an uptrend has higher lows, and a downtrend has lower lows, lower highs. Okay, and you can say that either way, lower highs, lower lows, whatever, right? It's lowers, right? So when price is heading up, you got a higher high here. Let's post out some lines, make this easy to see. You got a higher high here, higher low than before, higher high, higher low than before, higher high, higher low than before. That's your uptrend, right? And obviously your downtrend is going to have lower highs and lower lows in the very same fashion. Okay, so whether you're trading up or down, the trend trading is you're trading with the trend. Now, what will happen on trading with the trend is if you can identify a trend, usually you're already up in this kind of area because you have the higher highs, higher lows, and you now have the second higher high, right? So you're now in an uptrend. Actually, you technically can verify you're in a trend at this point because you've broken that high and you've made what is going to be a new high. You know you're in a trend once price goes up, makes a pullback, breaks the prior high. Now you are in a trend, right? In a higher, because now you have a higher high, right? Now, if that low goes below, then you violated the new uptrend, and that's a whole nother conversation. But once you're in that trend and you're looking for a pullback, if you can identify the next higher low, then you can identify a nice pullback to take a trade, and you have a trend. You know the direction that things are going. So one way to do that is now you'll always want to use structure in the past, right? So let's say that price was like right here, right? Let's say that this rest of this hadn't happened yet. So let's redo this as such. Okay, we're just going to mimic this. But this is where things are. Things haven't not gone past here, but you have identified an uptrend. Maybe you have some algorithms that are helping you know that the trend is intact besides just price action, whatever it is. And you want to go ahead and predict the price is going to go up and you want to trade as such. Well, you can sort of have the idea that price is going to pull something like this, right? And then eventually maybe continue. But what matters is this first part of that, where you're going to try to catch a profit on the way to this next high. Okay, now, that being the case, there's a couple ways to do that. Of course, you're going to look at old structure. Like we could even use this as an example, and we can pretend that price made its way down here from where it is right now, just for educational purposes, whatever. And we have this structure right here. Well, okay, we probably don't want to go past that, right? Because that structure is there. Maybe, we're going to pretend the price went down from there, right? Like this actual real price action is part of our chart. So we're going to pretend that things went like this, right? Just like that. So now that we have this idea in place, we're going to want to take profit, of course, before the structure. And then, of course, how do we estimate where it might go besides having structure and using a particular range tool that we use at Algo Factory? Sometimes I talk about it on here, sometimes I don't. Most of the time I tell you have to be a part of Algo Factory to learn it. Other times I talk about it. But long story short, what we can do is we can look at this trend and we can use what's called the Fib extension tool. And we map out this impulse up from the bottom to the top, and we go back to the bottom and click it. And then we have some Fib extension numbers, the 1272 and the 1618. And the 1272 and 1618 are good numbers. Price usually goes to these. When it comes to Fibonacci, why does price do that? No one really knows. Is it a self-fulfilled prophecy? Is it because everybody's looking at fibs? No one really knows. Is it something about the universe? I mean, the Fibonacci numbers occur in nature, they occur in plants, they occur in our body. Yeah, Fibonacci, like the segments of your fingers are Fibonacci length. It's, it could be some magical thing, but whatever it is, we know that these numbers are generally obeyed. And then structure usually is obeyed in front of these numbers. So for example, we might say we think price will go to this 618. Maybe we think this move up will continue higher, but this structure is in the way. So the way I do things, structure trumps Fibonacci's. Fibonacci's are good as a general confluence, as a general way to know where price might go. But in this case, structure is going to be more important. So I would take profit just below the structure, below the Fibonacci that I like the most, which the 618, the 1.618 extension is where price tends to want to go. And I could take out some profit here at this 1.272 or maybe just below that. So these are my two areas, and where I would take profit. I might even front run that structure just a tad like this. And then that's how I would plan my trade. And I would go ahead and go long right here, as I confirmed using my algos, whatever my method is. Maybe you're using price structure. There's ways to do that based on prior price. Maybe that's why you like this area to go long, but I'm going to go long here based on whatever my reason is. I'll have my stop loss based on whatever logic I usually use. And then I'll go long to these targets like this. And I'll take my first profit right here and my second profit right there. And that's how I will do a trend continuation trade. And this right here is something where, if you're in the chat right now, I know we're still a pretty new YouTube channel. We haven't advertised or done any of the SEO stuff yet. So there's not a lot of people watching to ask questions. Even if you're not an Algo Factory member, you can ask questions about this. If you're watching this and you want to ask questions about it offline, like on YouTube, say, hey, I want to know more about this, do another show on it. Like, that's acceptable. If you're, of course, in the chat, we're in the beginner live lab. So, we actually have a decent amount of people watching in there, but if you want more questions answered on this in the live lab, we can answer it after the fact. If you have questions now, ask them, because I'm going to move on. We're going to compare this to the actual trade. All right. You see how this works right here? So this is the theory. This is the theory in action, right? Uptrend, pullback. Structure was actually way up here. But I went ahead and was conservative with it. Although had I think my original super high target was going to be up here, but the 1.618 I think was what I was interested in. I didn't care to go past that because I knew that data was coming out this morning, and I didn't think price would make it all the way up there. And sure enough, I'm not exactly sure if this is where my target was. I think I used the top of the body of this candle here at the top of this. That's my original target. Obviously, though, I was concerned the price might not make it up there due to the data coming out this morning. And so I chose the 1.618 right here, because if I do the fib extension from this prior thing right here, you can see that this matches I did a 1.272. The 1.618, it technically would have been a good target, and you can see price pierced the 1.618. I could have gone for that, but I was conservative because I was putting this trade on overnight. So, because I'm not managing that trade, I can't, I woke up to this profit, which is just awesome. You gotta love waking up to profit. This took profit about an hour and a half before I woke up. Now, had I taken that 618, I would have had a nasty risk to reward. It would have been a very big win. It was still a very big win. So we are live every weekday, 8:30 AM EST, giving out free content. Come check us out on YouTube. Come talk to us. Go over to the website. That's www.algofactory.tech. Again, www.algofactory.tech. And for a limited time promotional offer, we are giving out memberships at $49.99 a month. There's a ton that we're offering over there. Come see what that's about. Also, you can see our Twitter link. All the links are up on YouTube. Come talk to us on social media. See us on the live YouTube videos. We hope to see you soon.